Hi everyone, this is Jim. Welcome to this Chess Blitz postmortem video. This is a postmortem of my Blitz chess game number 51, where I start out with e4 and my opponent played the Sicilian defense, and we got into the Sicilian Najdorf variation. So let's take a look at that. And you'll notice on the opening book, these are all the most popular moves, e4, c5. So this is, in this book at least, the most popular of all openings. d4, c takes, knight takes d4, knight f6. Knight c3, a6. So this a6 is a characteristic move in the Najdorf. And the most common move here is bishop e3. That's the English attack. You put the bishop on e3 and the pawn on f3, and then you pawn storm with these guys later. This bishop g5 is an older move. This was considered the main line for a long time, and still quite good, and leads to a lot of interesting complications. So let's see. Is this where white can play? Well, let's say f4. Yeah, one of these moves. I think here, queen b6 leads to the poison pawn variation, which is quite a famous variation in the Najdorf. After queen b6, you can play queen to d2 and let black take that pawn, and then you chase it with the rook. Anyway, very complicated game. It's a pawn sack, and the idea is you take advantage of the displaced black queen to get a strong kingside attack, and while the king is still in the middle. But my opponent played bishop e7, second most popular choice here. And I follow up with queen f3, so this is one of the standard positions in the Najdorf variation, and queen c7 is very often played here. There's this tactical idea. The queen is on this diagonal, and so if you can push this pawn forward, attack this pawn, and attack something on the diagonal, you can win some material. So this discourages the move b5. And the idea with queen c7 is to be able to meet this tactical threat with the move bishop to b7, attacking the queen and buying time for the knight to escape. So that's kind of a standard plan. He goes with h6 here, which is also part of the plan in a lot of cases, but maybe it's a little earlier than usual. And I retreated. Oh no, I exchanged instead of retreated. It looks like retreating here. Bishop to h4 is the most popular move. And if we can take a look at that for a second, if I had played bishop h4, the game might have continued. Queen c7, castles queenside, knight bd7, and bishop d3. And this is maybe a typical kind of setup. And then g5 to hit the bishop. And some exchanges are here, and it looks like black's king is staying in the center, and white is going for an attack. So it looks like that would have been a reasonable way to play here. Let's go back to the notation tab. Instead, I played bishop takes f6. And I'm going to leave the computer off. We're just going to, I looked at this earlier, and I just want to do some quizzes here without the computer giving away the answer. So the chess engine, I mean. So he takes, and then I castle, and he castles, and I play king b1. So let's back up. Instead of king b1, actually, there's a good move here for white. And so take a second and see if you can figure this one out. So I'm going to give away the answer. Pause the video if you want more time to think about it. The idea here is you can play the move e5, hitting the bishop, and go ahead and put it on the board. And actually the bishop's best move here is to retreat. If he takes the pawn, he's opened up this line between the rook and his queen. His queen's still on the d file there, so you have a shot like this, knight d6. The queen has to move, and you can pick up the rook there. So interesting tactic. And I wasn't even really looking for that. I was aware of this other tactic involving e5, but not that one. So that's interesting. You can miss tactics because you're looking at the wrong things. So king b1, queen c7, and g4 and knight d7. So the computer did not like the move knight d7. Basically, it lets white get a strong attack, and it recommends playing knight to c6 right away to challenge this knight, which is already, it's attacked once and defended once, so another attacker would force me to do something about the knight. But he played knight d7, and I follow up with the recommended move here, which was h4. So now I have this armada of pawns that are descending on black's king side, and his play on the queen side against my king is a little bit slow. So I have a significant advantage here, and I play this pretty well for a while, pushing the pawns, chasing his pieces around, and opening up a line. And here it's interesting. The computer thinks black's best choice. It thinks white is better, but it thinks black's best defense is actually to take that pawn and open up the g file. The problem is that when he pushes to g6, I can continue pushing forward with h5, and something is going to get opened up here anyway, and he's going to be down a pawn. But this is how it was played. He plays king h7 to get away from that and to try and shore up his pawns there, and I exchange. And play queen g3. Let's see. Yeah, right around here. Okay, yeah, it's not exactly a tactic, so I won't quiz you on it. It's just there's a better move for white than queen g3. And that is bishop to h3. Just getting the bishop off the back rank, attacking this weak pawn here, and getting another piece into the attack. So this move queen g3 is a little bit slow. I mean, it's not even attacking anything just yet because this pawn is defended. It's in the way of attacking something, but it's not attacking something just yet, and allows my opponent to play e5. And I follow up with f5, which turns out to be a good move because he doesn't have time to take my my rook, because I can take here with check and then checkmate there. So he needs to do something other than take the pawn, actually. I forget what the computer recommended there. Pretty much anything except taking the pawn, because this allows, and you shouldn't need the video to see this one, this allows a terrific move for white. And I didn't play it, too, which is pretty annoying. But there's a mate in one here. Just queen here, there is... Queen to g7 is checkmate. It's defended by the pawn, and the king has no squares. And the knight here is blocking the queen's view of that diagonal. Another reason why knight d7 was not a great move in the circumstances. It's a good move in other lines. So it's funny. So backing up, before he took this, I had already, when I played f5, I had figured he couldn't take the rook because I could take here with check, drive the king to the corner, and checkmate him there. I didn't bother to reevaluate after he takes the pawn and notice that there's just a checkmate in one. I just thought that, well, I don't have this check anymore, and I've got to take the pawn to try and reestablish this threat of check and checkmate. Of course, you don't need a threat if you can checkmate him directly, right? Anyway, that's Blitz. So he attacks my queen, and I maneuver it to the other side, but black is a little better up until this move. And computer thinks, in spite of the apparent dangers, he should just go ahead and take my rook here. I guess my check is not going to lead to anything. The king can just tuck himself in the corner, and I don't have a really good follow-up. So, so the way to keep the advantage for black is to go ahead and take the rook. So when he plays this move, knight c3, knight c5, it lets me back in the game with... it took me a while to find this, but I was able to discover the move knight to d5. So even though both my rooks are hanging, the bishop was attacking this rook and the pawn is attacking that rook. Knight's attacking the queen. And if the queen moves, the knight can come to the square f3 check with pretty good effect. So so he has to take the knight, pretty much. I take back. And now, actually, white has a slight advantage once again. And I keep this advantage through the rest of the game. It's about a one-pawn advantage, according to the computer, and that's, if you count the material, I'm up one pawn. So it's a balanced position. I'm just up in material until we reach this point here. And I play the move, rook takes d6. Yeah, let's back up. So rook takes d6 is a mistake. And there's another position you can actually see what happens in the game up to the point where I resign, if you look at the notation tab on the right there. But think about it yourself. Why is it not correct for white to take that pawn? And pause the video if you want time to think about it. Go ahead and look at the notation and see if that gives you a clue. I didn't get to the final move, so you can look at it a few moves and see if you can figure out why I resigned at that point. Okay, if you want more time, pause the video and think about it. I'm going to go ahead and play the remaining moves and explain what's wrong at the end. So I take, he takes, I take, he takes, and now I resign. And why do I resign? It's because if I take his queen, he checkmates me. So I can't take back because that's game over. So at this point here, instead of rook takes f5. Instead of rook takes d6, let's back up one square. The computer recommends playing a move like a3. And then, and now I am threatening to win that pawn. He doesn't have any good way to defend it. He can take this pawn over here, but it's a little dangerous opening up around his king, and I can grab this pawn, and it rates white as still better. About a one pawn advantage for white. So that would have been a nice endgame if I had been able to play that correctly. Just need to provide a little way, a little air, a little Luft for the king there, they call it in German. And then I don't get checkmated on the back rank, and then I can continue with my plan. But I missed that idea. And it's funny, as I was playing through the main moves here, I was thinking, I was aware there's this tactic where he might play his rook down to here, and I thought, well, I could just come back and defend, but that's not the strongest way to play. The strongest way to play is queen takes there, and that's how it ended. So pretty instructive game, I thought. Hope you guys enjoyed that, and if you have any comments, leave them in the section below, and I'll see you again later. Bye.